Hey, Justin here, just sharing an update on this Wednesday, November 11th. Happy Veterans Day. I'm grateful to all the veterans who have served. Um, yeah, just wanted to give a summary kind of on my take of what's been happening and give some insight on what I'm aware of and take it as you will. I hope you like the beard. I'm growing it out long just to kind of add to the talking about crazy things. Look, um, but yeah, the this election has been quite a roller coaster already, which has been fascinating to watch. And nothing I've said in the past has been proven wrong whatsoever. Okay, so just to sort of replay what's happened so far, we had the election night on November 3rd, and it took a while to call everything. There were certain pivotal states that mysteriously stopped their count that night and said that it was going to take a day or more to get the vote in, and I'm sure that was just coincidence. And then when the next day came around, just about the overwhelmingly vast majority of the votes that came in overnight or were counted the next day or days after all went to Biden. And once he had enough of just barely enough over in each, according to these people who are counting, the media all at once simultaneously proclaims him the victor. He goes out and does his acceptance speech, and people who are still listening to that completely think that's the case. And at the same time, you have um, continuous like continuous piling up of evidence showing that there has been some form of manipulation, voter fraud going on in definitely all the pivotal states, but just about every state has had some example or another. And the media at this time continues to say that well, at first they were saying there was no evidence of fraud, saying that anyone who was spouting that was just spouting conspiracy theories. You see that? See that theme? See how they keep playing that up? And then now they've been forced to kind of shift to there's no widespread evidence of voter fraud. Just because there is so much out there, they can't continue to deny it. So they're kind of shifting the goalpost in that direction to sort of try and save face, I guess, as they continue to just lie and suppress the truth because they can't allow that truth to come out. But it doesn't really matter what they say because the truth is continuing to come out, and we've had hundreds. I've seen hundreds of credible signed affidavit allegations um, about voter fraud in a various amount of states. So to say that there's no evidence or no widespread evidence is completely inaccurate, and we just continue seeing more and more pour out. And this is just from my perspective, looking at it from um, various outlets on social media and people posting things and pictures, videos. Um, but it's undeniable when you start looking at it. So I would just kind of challenge anyone who still believes that narrative that there is no evidence of widespread voter fraud. Have you looked at all? Like, have you looked? Have you spent any time honestly taking a look and seeing what's being put forward? Because I would throw a hypothetical at you, and um, if this was going the other way, if it seemed like Trump was getting all these mysterious votes and having these sort of large swaths of mail-in ballots that were found, and a lot of suspicious activity, wouldn't you expect an investigation to occur? Wouldn't you expect there to be some sort of justice and transparency in the process? Um, but it seems like people, just because it's going their way, are okay to turn a blind eye to blatant um, blatant fraud. And yeah, so I just throw that challenge out there, and invite everyone to kind of really take an honest look, and do, don't take my word for it. Don't take anyone's word for it. Do your own investigation. Do your own research. That's how we come to the truth. That's how we get there. Um, but we need to take a look at this, and so the truth continues to come out, and we're like today there were a lot of swing states that are shifting. Georgia's doing a recount. Pennsylvania and Wisconsin both look like they might swap back over. So that's continuing to play out. Nevada's got just so much shady business going on there. I'll just give an example. Like, so this year there were 450,000 ballots that only had Biden selected on the ballot. Had no other senators or House representatives or any other votes tallied. It was just Biden, which compared to years past, this is a complete statistical anomaly. Like, we've never had this many people who are just like, oh, I'm going to go vote today, and this is the only one I'm going to mark, and that's what I'm going to put forward. So even if that's all just somehow coincidence that this year there so happened to be a record amount of people who only wanted to go vote for one thing on their ballot and chose not to fill out anything else, that's still enough of an anomaly that we need to look into it. And that's just like one example of countless of, we've got post office workers that are coming out and saying that they've been instructed to backdate ballots that were received after November 3rd. So any received on like the 4th or the 5th, they were instructed to change the postmark and backdate them. And we've got tons of ballots found in trash cans all over the place, ripped up and torn apart, that were all marked for Trump. And so, it just keeps kind of piling up how much shady business has gone down. Especially the poll watchers thing too. Even when the votes were being tallied, and still, even after a judge order was given, poll watchers from the right side were rejected from coming in and watching the polls, and if they were allowed in, they had to stand like 30 feet across the room, or were strategically placed where they couldn't see a lot of it. And it's just like, if everything was being done ethically and fairly, why is there so much resistance to looking into it? Why is there so much resistance to doing the right thing? Regardless, like, even if for some reason this is all just made up, like, it absolutely warrants an investigation. And an investigation will show what happened. So that's what we're going through right now. And so yeah, that's my take on the situation. Again, I urge everyone to be cautious on how much how much emotionally invested we get into all this, because especially those who are still leaning towards the left, and have experienced this excitement of thinking their candidate won. Um, it's going to be a bit of a rude awakening finding out the truth. And the media is kind of counting on that. They're counting on that sort of, because they know they lost. They know they lost. But they want to get as many people riled up and ready for whatever after the fact, to switch the narrative to, um, instead of saying that there's no evidence of voter fraud, they'll say that all the voter fraud was manipulated by Trump or something, or all these investigations are fraudulent, and this is, I guarantee it, they will try and get people riled up and out on the streets destroying things. As I've mentioned before, Antifa is already set up to sort of welcome in anyone to join their cause. So just be wary of that. I'd keep a level head, and that again goes back to what I've suggested before about grounding, finding that spiritual balance, meditating, praying, finding your connection with God. But yeah, this is far from over, and it's only gonna it's only going to accelerate for a minute, as until the dust settles, until we figured out what's going on and how this is all playing out. But yeah, that's just another take of mine. Take it as you will. I know many people who watch these think that I'm absolutely nuts, which is funny because I never really get anyone who wants to genuinely talk about it, who disagrees with me. But I get a lot of sort of passive aggressive comments or remarks or whatever else, and that's okay. I understand it's a big thing to want to dive into, and I get it. I get it. It's hard to acknowledge. It's hard to comprehend. It's hard to admit. But even so, I'll continue to say that I'm here. I'm here to talk about it. I don't judge anyone. I don't ridicule anyone. We've all been fooled to some degree or another, and I keep finding out more ways that I've been fooled throughout my life, which is a very humbling experience. But it's beautiful because each one of those layers that we peel away, we get closer to the truth, which is where we need to get to, because that's where the magic really starts to happen. But we'll get there. But yeah, so just saying again, happy to talk about it. Feel free to reach out, and I love y'all. Love y'all so much, and I'll talk to you next time.